60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
On September 25, 2018, delegates of Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Lagos State, will vote in primaries for the man or woman who will represent the party as its governorship candidate in the forthcoming 2019 general election. The question is, will there be a shift from who the current governor is to another person, considering what is standard international convention, where an incumbent is always given the right of first refusal? Well, hello and welcome to the program. I'm Angela Ajetumobi. And that's where my guest today comes in. He's a former Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure in Lagos State. He served also as a Commissioner for Science and Technology. That was between August 2005 and 2011 under the administration of the former Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He holds a master's degree in crop processing and engineering that he got in 1988 and a PhD in system processing and engineering that in 1992. With a varied work experience, moving from New York City to Columbia University, serving in Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and of course here in Nigeria, O&O PLC. In 2013, he was declared Lagos State Man of the Year. Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat joins me today on the program. Thank you very much, Dr. Hamzat, for coming on 60 Minutes with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Right. You know, in my introduction, I talked about how there is an international convention the world over. An incumbent always gets the option of first refusal. But in saying that, it's not automatic that every governor under our constitution must get a second term. The only snag is that if the incumbent is denied a second term, it looks as if, or it sends a signal to the electorate that even the party does not deem him worthy of getting a second term. So why are you throwing your hat into the ring at this time?
Thank you very much. I think you will realize that by now, three of us, including the incumbent governor, submitted our intention to change the nomination of our party. Lagos as a state has been very lucky. We have very good governors. I serve with Governor Tinubu and Governor Fashola. And coming to these decisions, people think it's easy. It's not. Because I've seen these two great men work diligently. And governance is not easy.
Yes.
Because in our system, you have to micromanage. So the institutions are not where they should be. Right. Therefore, as a governor, you have to have knowledge of almost everything in order to be able to direct the attention. Now, Lagos State, like I said, has been lucky. We've been able to solve some problems. So when Governor Tinubu came in as governor, only 9% of our students that sit for WAEC actually gets 5 credits, including English and Maths. But this has been moving gradually. Unfortunately, there's a reverse recently. Now the question is, as a party, do we want that to continue? Or should we move in a new direction and say what we've built, we must sustain it? And that's why some of us that have been part of that system says, okay, well, let's put it in and tell the populace and the party members that this direction can be changed, and if that's agreeable, and then somebody else will come in. Or But as you know, the incumbent is also running, so he will make his own case.
You know, anyone listening to you now will say, okay, this example of education that you've used, you are in the party. Why didn't you give that suggestion to the current governor?
Well, like I said, the template is there. Okay, and those templates were built by party members.
Right.
So there is a think tank that come together. And it's rigorous. So of course there will be difference of opinion, but in implementing, so you have your team, and it's that team that should implement.
Yes.
So, but the policies are there, the ideas are there. These are the things. How do you manage the schools? So one of the challenges we have in Lagos is that when you see people hawking on the street, do you know that about 40% of them are actually our students? So they go to class in the morning and they hawk in the evening. Now, you've been student, I've been student. That's the time you actually have to study.
Yes.
So that is the challenge. So when you have a policy that says people under this age should not hawk, it has nothing to do only just with hawking. It has to do with also the education. There's a larger picture. And those are the things that are missing. So that is part of what is already on the template. What is not being implemented the right way. And some of us are saying, well, maybe it's time to now say, okay, hold on, let's move in that direction.
All right. You contested against this current governor in 2014 in the primary then. He won at that time. Why don't you think he deserves a second term now?
The first thing is that we've all agreed that we are running a constitutional democracy.
Yes.
And in that constitutional democracy, we have a constitution. So the framers said a term of 4 years, renewable. That's a reason.
Not automatic.
It's not automatic. So the fact that it's renewable means that as a governor, elected governor, you must then follow certain processes. Certain within the party and for the populace at large. So we as a party must also check our system. To say, okay, are we in the right track or we are not? And so we must always renew that system. Now, as you know, Governor Tinubu got a second term. In fact, nobody challenged that. Within the party, the same thing with Governor Fashola. So, but it's not, like you said, it's not automatic. So if within the system we see that, things are not going well, we have the right to say, well, let's check it. And if we check it, and this party, remember, we are doing a direct primary, which means all card-carrying members of our party will have the right to vote. So they will make that decision.
I think now you've talked about direct primary. For the sake of those who don't understand what it is, what is direct primary and why does it seem as if some people are against it?
Well, the constitution of our party says we could elect our officers through direct primary, indirect primary, and even consensus. So you have those three options. Now, the direct primary means every card-carrying member that shows up on that, they can vote. So it's like having a general election, but only limited to APC members. That's it. For the indirect, it means the delegates will be selected. And those delegates, you know the number. So in Lagos, it will be probably about 5,600. So it's all the ESCOs of the party at the state level, at the ward level, all the elected members, as of assembly, as of reps, senate, and so on and so forth. So that one is know that, okay, to be 5,600 delegates in Lagos, then they will go and vote. But the direct primary means everybody
turns up
and to select.
What scares people about that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, but for me, I think it's good. It's the essence of, we must keep improving our democratic credentials. It's either we want democracy or we don't want it. If we want it, then we must keep on improving it. So for me, I think it's good. It has its disadvantages, no doubt. But what is it that doesn't have one? So let's go with it and see what the people say.
What happens? Exactly. You've already said that there are three of you in the race. But one man is widely reported to be the anointed. They say over 50 local government and LCDA chairman endorsed his nomination. He also served in Governor Tinubu and Governor Fashola's administration as advisor. Does that worry you?
No, it doesn't. You can only deal with what you know.
Yes.
What I know is that the leader of the party, Tinubu, said there will be primaries. And he said it publicly. Everybody was there. And that everybody has the right to go and contest.
Yes.
He advised, said, don't go and borrow money. So he gave advice, and that is what he said publicly. So people can say other things.
Yes.
And I know what he said to me individually. So I can only go with what I know. So there are all sorts of things that people are saying. So and then again, all party members will come in and vote. And then, of course, there will be decision making,
yes,
talking to people, which we are all doing. So I'm sure all the three of us are doing it. But
okay,
at the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
Okay, so the former governor, Tinubu, knows that you are interested in the race. You did discuss it with him.
Well, I mean, I think, we are Africans.
Yes.
And we respect our elders.
Yes.
And I think it would be disastrous if, I'm trying to get married, for example, and I don't tell my parents that I'm getting married,
yes,
introducing my wife or whatever. So the same process.
Yes.
So you must respect them. They are leaders of the party. So, and then we talk to them. This is my intention.
Approach all of them.
Exactly. And the reality is, at the initial stage, I'm sure there are more than 3 people that are interested.
Yes.
But some people are told, I think you should relax, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
They listen.
Yes.
So the 3 of us that are in the race, I'm sure that I'm sure the 3 of us discussed relatively. And we say, okay, let's see what happens.
I want to talk about the fact that the current governor is a Christian, and people are thinking that with the accusation against the APC over the years and an alleged Islamization agenda of President Buhari, which you and I know isn't true, would it make sense for the party to swap a Christian current governor, replace him with a Muslim like yourself? Because I know that Mr. Sanwo-Olu is a Christian. Do you think that will come into play in any way in the party primary?
For me, I think that what is important is what type of a country do we want to build?
Yes.
What type of a state do we want to build? We must build an egalitarian society that doesn't consider your race, your tribe, your religion. Like I said, what is it? Whatever you cannot measure in life, you can manage it.
Yes.
And that's why, as a father or as a mother, you must not have 3 kids.
Yes.
So you plan their education. How do you measure my faith? How? So if you cannot measure my faith, how do you manage it? People's faith is between them and their God. I don't know what people do behind the scene,
yes,
what they say, I don't know. So the reality is that good governance is not correlated with anybody's religion.
Do you think
that's the bottom line?
You think?
And I don't want a situation,
yes,
where my children or somebody else's children will feel that people should be disqualified based on their religion. I think it's a path to disaster. I've seen it, we are talking about it, but tell me that nation in the world that has succeeded only based on religion. There's none. No. So ours will not be different. It's a path, in my view, to disaster.
Yes.
And we must understand, the religion, like I said, has nothing to do. As a governor, my job is not to go and preach. My job is not to be an imam.
Yes.
The imams are there in the mosques. The pastors are there and they let them do their jobs.
Yes.
How is it that we don't say the MD of a bank should be a Muslim or a Christian? That's because it's irrelevant.
Yes.
I want my money to be managed. If I'm sick today and I need a surgeon, I won't ask for the surgeon's religion. I want a competent surgeon.
Yes.
Where did you study? What have you done? What's your experiences? If I'm flying a plane, I don't look for a Christian, a Muslim, or atheist. I'm looking for a competent pilot. Because I know when I'm there, if anything goes wrong, I want somebody that can handle it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and you are right, we've boxed ourselves into this corner and saying that, but we must be careful. Because the reality is today, we have Indians who are now Nigerians. So when will it be the turn of the Hindus? When will it be the turn of the Buddhists?
Yes.
So the reality is, we must say that we have Christians and Muslims, but the reality is we have other religions. They might be minorities, but at the time, when will it be their turn?
Yes.
So for me, religion should just not be part of the equation at all, in my view.
What about indigenship? You think that should play any role in determining who will be governor of this commercial capital of Nigeria?
Yeah, I think so. The reality is that by our nature,
yes,
we are people that move around. And maybe I should take that opportunity to address it, because people might have said it before. Now, my father's name is Mufta Olatunji Hamzat. His own father, that's my grandfather,
yes,
is Sheye Yubo Hamzat Ajiborisha. When they became Muslim, they removed the Ajiborisha from there. Now, the Ajiborishas are in Ekpe town till tomorrow. The first military administrator of Osun State, General Ajiborisha, is my uncle. So, there is migration between them. So, some people went this way, some people went that way. And that's what happened. My mother is from Igaibe in Lagos. Some of them went with Kosoko to Ekpe. That's why you also have Okonu family in Ekpe. But their root is in Lagos. But some of them are from Ekpe now. So we move around. So for me, straightforward, both sides, and I'm a Lagosian. Key and key.
Okay. The way Lagos politics reportedly works, there's endorsement by critical stakeholders. We've heard about the mandate group. We've heard about justice group. Who are the party bigwigs behind you? You know, somebody must lift your hand up. Who can you say
well, the good thing for me,
you?
Good thing for me, I come from a political family. My father one time was chairman of Justice Forum. But I think we've decided that all these groups should be collapsed.
Right.
I think Ashwani Bola Ahmed Tinubu said that. The reality is that there are still some rumblings here and there.
Yes.
So for me, what I have done is to talk to everybody. Whether you belong to mandate, whether you belong to this, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because when you become governor, you will even treat people that are not members of your party. So I won't build a road and say you should not go through somebody's house. That would be stupid. That's not government. So for me, is to talk to as many people as possible. And I wouldn't deceive myself and say I want to contest if I don't see all those approvals from some sector of the people. And you know, you can only try.
Yes.
And then you give it all your best.
Yes.
And that's it.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it's 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajitumobi. On my hot seat today, Dr. Femi Hamzat, who hopes to be the next governor of Lagos State, the commercial capital of Nigeria. I want to take you back now to your time in government, because you've served under the former governor, Bola Tinubu, you've served under Babatunde Fashola, and one of your key achievements is the creation of the Lagos State Forensic Laboratory. How did that materialize and why?
The intention during that administration is, I'm sure you've heard BRICS, all this emerging economy.
Yes.
We decided that. So we have Brazil, we have Russia, we have India, we have China, and then we have South Africa. So within ourselves, we started thinking, why can't Nigeria, why can't that become BRICS with N for Nigeria? And we believe that Lagos holds the key. In order for that to happen, what are the various things that must be there? So we started as a team to look at that. And we realized that in our country at that time, there are only 2 people that can do fingerprint analysis in Nigerian police. 2.
Only 2?
Only 2. In fact, at the time, one of them must have retired now maybe 3 years ago. So I don't know what has happened to the other gentleman, if he's still there. Now, you cannot build a country like that. It just doesn't work.
Yes.
Because it means you cannot solve crime. So, I said, what do we need to do? So we look around the world and we realize that you must build a forensic lab that stands the test of time. But it's very expensive. So one of the things we did, we started talking to various embassies.
Yes.
And the American embassy facilitated us to go to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia, in the United States. And it's amazing. It's amazing in the sense that if a car hits somebody on the road from 1938, the FBI lab Quantico has the colors of all cars that comes to America from 1948. And what that means is if there's a hit and run, there will be patches on your body.
Yes.
So they will scrape
paint,
exactly. They will scrape it. They will go to the lab and say, okay, it's a Toyota Camry, it's a gray color, it's 1997 car. So the question is, you narrow it down.
Yes.
And then go to your database and say, how many people registered this car? And that's how you start interviewing. Where are you on that day? So we did a need analysis.
Yes.
A need analysis will tell you what are the things that needs to be in place in order for you to build a lab that can sustain itself. Now, we were lucky. At the time, Morocco was building and Kuwait just finished one.
Yes.
So the company that did all those analyses, we brought them in. And they did a forensic analysis. They did everything. It was this thing, the study. At the time, very expensive. So we took it to the federal government. It was during President Jonathan. So I did a presentation. President Jonathan, the governor, was there to say this is what it is. It has everything. The DNA analysis, it has question documents. So if you have a document and you tore it and tore it and tore it, you bring it back. So you have everything. So we acquired some land and we said, okay, well, why don't we start instead? And those are some of the things that were left behind. And this current agriculture took off. And I think they've implemented a part of it, which is very good.
Okay. And the Lagos State Residents Registration Agency, was that to be modeled after the UK's national insurance number and the US's social security? What was the idea behind that? As you know, a lot of people were very skeptical to come forward to register at the time.
Yeah. Well, the idea is this. You cannot be a floating mass in your country. So if you enter the United States today, for example, you must struggle to get your social security number because then you can't do anything. You can't open an account, you can't work, you can't live. You are just a floating. You must present yourself to the government.
Yes.
The challenge is that we have so much unregistered assets in our country. That's why our economy is underperforming. Too many things are under the table. So a typical person has assets but cannot go to bank and borrow money. But those assets are not documented. So the same thing, we have individuals that government doesn't even know they exist. And like I said, if you don't know something, if you cannot measure anything, you cannot manage it.
Yes.
So government must know how many people am I dealing with?
Yes.
How many people need medical assistance? How many people need to go to school? How do I plan for the future? If you don't have this data, it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Now, what we found out in Lagos and in Nigeria is that we have silos of data. So you have car registration.
Yes.
You have land registration, but it's not tied together. So the idea with LASRA is let's get a unique number for every individual.
That covers everything.
That covers everything. So the moment you put that, you can see. So that's why you see on the radio, somebody just bought a car, hit somebody and run away. And that's it. So that person is dead and there's no accountability. It shouldn't happen because somebody bought that car. Somebody registered that car. Somebody got a driver license to drive that car.
Yes.
What happened? So the idea behind LASRA is basically to be able to generate, and then you know, it has a link with everything. We are the only people in the world that buy houses like you buy yam and rice. So the idea is we must be able to build our financial information so that people can build houses, get mortgages, and be able to live a good life. So data is the new currency of the world.
Yes.
And therefore, we must have data that relates to our existence. That's the basic essence of LASRA.
And your role in building, the construction of the Leaky link bridge, you know that bridge was such a sore point, especially because of the tolls people were paying on that. Tell us a bit of the background to that bridge and how it came to be.
You would remember that when 1004 was being privatized, sold to UAC, renovated, people buying it. So you have 1004 flats there.
Yes.
Now they've included some, so maybe it's now 1200, whatever it is. And by our calculation, every family that lives there will have 2-3 cars.
Yes.
So you are introducing a 3,600 whatever vehicles onto the road in that axis. You know the congestion already. Now, the question is, when you are coming from Leaky and you are going to the mainland, why do you need to pass through VI? You really don't.
Yes.
So the idea is, where can we look for so that we can take that traffic and split it into two? Now, from the foot of that bridge today to the other side, if you are going at 40 kilometers per hour, it takes you about 3 minutes. Now, if you are going from the foot of that bridge and you are going through the other way, it takes you through VI, it takes you about 37 minutes. So you've cut off 34 minutes. If you do that every day.
From travel time.
From travel time.
Yes.
What that means is you are using less fuel, you are less stress and the rest. So that is the basic idea. How do we reduce traffic in this axis? And we started looking for, okay, where can it be? How can we do it? And we did the reconnaissance studies and we said, okay, it must be this particular area, and that's why we built it.
And it's normal to pay tolls on bridges and roads?
You know the interesting thing? I was talking to a senior advocate who had an argument with me when we were building. Why are you building? I said, well, look, when you get down from Dubai airport to Jumeirah, you pay 3 tolls. He said, no. I said, well, go and check. The reality is there is nothing that's coming up. There's no barrier. But the reality is we pay. And he checked and he called me back and said, Femi, I didn't know that we pay. So the reality is, you cannot fund everything from government balance sheet. The resources is just not there. Therefore, we must find a way to build our infrastructure outside of government. So either PPP or contractor financing, which they will go through tolls and so on and so forth. So all this mechanism has to be in place. What is important is that it shouldn't be too high, so that people don't suffer because of that.
And people would say, you know, Lagos is very rich. Everyone talks about the increased IGR. And so some watching you now will say, what is he talking about? Lagos can afford people to move around on these bridges without paying because Lagos is a rich state.
Well, I think it's debatable, and the word rich, you know. Let us look around the world.
Yes.
So Lagos has a population of about 22 million. And then the IGR on a monthly basis, it varies from the last one, they said it's about 35, 36, 30, thereabout. Now, if you divide that, how much is that per individual? If you go to other parts in Australia, parts in UAE, it's nothing per individual.
Yes.
So it doesn't solve majority of our problems. When you talk about education, are we where we are supposed to be? So the reality is, even in advanced economies, they are still doing PPPs. They are doing tolling. Like I just said, in Dubai, they are doing tolling. It's a rich society. But the reality is, as you keep growing, your needs increases. You must project, the essence is, Lagos population is increasing at alarming rate, about 4% every year. So which means by 2050, we might be 400 million. Now, how do you sustain that? As a state government, you must start to build the infrastructure that will sustain that. And you must see the future, because you have the data, you have the information, and communicate that to the citizen and say, look, you might think this is money, but the reality is that everybody says you must put this percentage in education. The reality is that they said today we don't put it. It's because you have other things,
you're doing,
you have health, you have environment and so on to deal with. Therefore, it's the cliche that the state is very rich. It's okay, but the reality is, in terms of our needs, we don't have enough money.
You have been credited with the design of Oracle. They say it's a software that makes it near impossible to steal Lagos State government revenue and also eliminated ghost workers. It changed the face of data and record keeping, they say. Is that Oracle still in use today?
I don't work for Lagos State government, so I wouldn't know. However, what we built makes it impossible for you not to use it, except if you decide to now go to a manual method of system. Because what it means is every voucher, so if a contract is awarded, there must be voucher generated to say pay this contractor. It must go through that system. So that everybody, there are 11 modules there. So, which is like a compartment. And in each compartment, there's the general ledger, there's the account receivable, account payable, and so on and so forth. And what that means is everybody must be able to track it. So that I don't need to come and ask you.
To bring a file.
Exactly. Where is this record? It's already there. Just do log in and check. Based on your approval level. So it's security based. There are certain things that maybe you cannot see, or it's only the boss that can see, and so on. So those are the things that each unit or each department determines, that who sees what, who doesn't see what. But as the boss, you can sit on your table and see everything and know, oh, okay, why is this file or why is this process taking 24 hours or 48 hours? So that's what we built. How it's being used today, I can answer that.
All right. I recall the former Governor Fashola saying that traffic congestion was a global phenomenon. It's still a challenge today faced by the current governor, and people are crucifying this administration for that traffic challenge. If it is global, why should we be angry at this administration? What is it that has happened that has made the traffic seem even worse than before Governor Fashola came in?
Well, I think government, first of all, cannot be hopeless. Your job is to solve problems, because these problems will keep coming. Now, there are various factors that affect this. What separates us, the so-called developing country, is the rule of law and engineering, bottom line. So,
engineering?
Or science and technology. Now, the challenge is you now even realize that that rule of law is actually helped by science and technology. So, for example, you don't see judges using long-hand again. They can record, they can listen to it, and they have automation. So, science and tech assist us. So now, if you drive in congestion zone in London, for example, you don't see a police running after you. You saw a ticket at home. That's because the data that I mentioned before is there. So I know who registered this car, you send you your ticket. And then the camera shows you cannot say because it's direct.
Yes.
That's what's missing. We have a command center. That command center, there are cameras in Lagos, in various areas.
I was there
exactly
to see that.
What has happened to that? Are we expanding it? So that you know the congestion areas in Lagos, what is causing it, and then you go and solve it. All those things seems to not function well anymore. But what needs to be done is to build on that so that you can allow last man to do their job. You know, one of the reasons is because of those analyses that would be the radio, the traffic radio. The traffic radio is supposed to assist all the citizens. When you log in, they tell you the congestion here, pass through here, pass information. So it's those stratas that we all need to link together. And I think that's probably the problem.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back to my concluding moments now with Dr. Femi Hamzat. Listening to you, you've talked a lot about things that had been done in the past, foundations that have been laid. And a very sore point with many people I've spoken to that they have against the current administration is what they call the deliberate whittling away of the former governor's legacy. In fact, it has made many people like me question any message of continuity that I hear being sold by any state government at this time. I mean, even until recently, a lot of people, myself included, thought perhaps this whittling away of the legacy was a direct instruction from the former governor and national leader of the party, Bola Tinubu. So, you know, if we agree that Bola Tinubu laid a foundation and Fashola built on that foundation, how do you react to those who are saying this current administration is trying to erase that legacy?
Well, I think the first thing I would like to say is that I know Governor Tinubu very, very well. As a matter of fact, he brought me back from the United States. So it's like a father. I know him very well. He will never be part of anything that will affect Lagos negative. He will not. That I can say. Yes. Now, you can assist somebody to get a job. It's difficult for you to help him do it. Now, I can't answer that question because I don't sit in the mind of the government.
Yes.
I don't. I can't answer what is. However, perhaps it's part of why the first question you asked, that probably that's why the two of us are also in the race.
Yes.
So, is to say that Lagos is more important than any one of us. And therefore, the progress must continue.
Yes. And
if that progress is being shortchanged, then we must talk. And we must react within the party. And that's probably what is happening. Yeah. So, if that your question,
yes,
answer your initial question.
All right. They're saying the current governor has performed. And I was reading some comments yesterday saying he has failed in the subject of party patronage and stepped on toes. How would you handle that? Why is party patronage important? Are party members more important than the citizens of Lagos State?
Well, I don't think they talk about it like that. Remember, though, the job of government is to perform certain activities and functions. Now, those functions will be performed by Nigerians most of the time.
Yes.
You can't go and bring people from Ghana or whatever. Now, party members are citizens. Let me talk about during Asiwaju.
Yeah, yes.
So, during Asiwaju's time, we wanted to build the CBD in Lagos.
Yes.
It was a complex road, many traffic, and when you build these roads in Lagos, you are moving not just traffic, you are moving water. Lagos is on the average 2 meters below sea level. So you must think about how do you move water? How do you move the traffic? Therefore, it's not all contractors that can do all the jobs.
Right.
So we gave it to Julius Berger. Julius Berger is not a party, whatever.
Yes.
It's a company. It's a professional company. So you look at scales. But in dealing with that, we must look at the human angle. The human angle is this. If I'm building a road in Epakodo,
yes, there
are young people in that community that don't have a job. So it's important to get the contractor to say, listen, this type of jobs, get these people from this community.
Involve them.
Involve them.
Yes.
Involve the market, involve them. So you will realize that you as the governor or the commissioner, you called your leaders and said, look, we need to have 20 kids, but their job is to do ABC. We don't want them to cause trouble. So help us manage, and they will be paid. but this is the job they are doing. So I think that's what people mean when they say that. And we must be able to create jobs for our young people when we are building this economy. If not, then we are facing problems. So that's exactly what they say. So that you spread the activity and not just let contractors just do the job, but the community must also participate. People buy. Imagine you are building a road. And you are going 200 kilometers to go and bring ordinary water.
When there are people
in your community that can supply water. And it's even cheaper. You can't say, oh, I already have a contract with a company to supply it. So that's what people mean. Allow the community near to you to be part of that project. And you know the good thing? They own that project. They will fight you if you want to destroy that project. When I was commissioner for work, people will call me at night and say, there are some people that just broke it. They will write the number of the vehicle that just broke our street light. They say, they just broke it. We'll try to say, don't take the law into your hand. It's good. And then we track the number. It's because they own that project. Because we involve them. But if you just do it, they say, okay, no problem.
It belongs to nobody.
It belongs to nobody. So, and I think that is the essence of that one. It's not just to monopolize it, but it's to get people involved. And they don't necessarily even know how to be politicians. They are just residents, but it's better that you use community leaders, the CDA leaders, to coordinate the activity.
Can you be trusted by the party leaders if you get the ticket? Well,
I mean, I've been part of the system for so long. I've interacted with almost all the leaders in the state. They know me very well. And I think if you ask them, they will say yes. So I will say yes to them.
In May 2013, the Lagos State government started work on the 4th Mainland Bridge. That was your brief. Where did you leave that? Do you know what the current state of that bridge is?
Well, what we did was to start a reconnaissance study. Where will it land? Where will it go? So we designed a road. Because the road is longer than the bridge, even we call it 4th Mainland Bridge. But you have a 23-kilometer road component of it. Because it lands somewhere in Igbogu, and then you must link it to the highway. So it's a 23-kilometer road, and then the bridge, because we are looking for the shortest waterway. So it's about 3.4, 3.5 kilometer bridge. Now we design it. It's designed. We have, in fact, for the sketch, we have 3, and then we took 3 to the Executive Council and said, these are our options in terms of costing and the rest. This is where it's going to be landing, compensation needs. So we look at all those factors. Again, as people see that a bridge is coming, people start building. Some people didn't get approval. Massive houses. And then, you know.
In the path of the bridge.
In the path of the bridge. The assumption is, oh, it's going to go this way, so I can build there. But you don't know. So we look at compensation and all these things to say. And then we select it. Now, it came out to about 226 billion naira. Now, that's why I said that when people say Lagos is rich. Now, if you think about that, that's more than the budget of the whole Ministry of Works for 4 years. So is it only that bridge I will build in 4 years and say we've done? So the money is not enough. And one of the things we did was, okay, how do we raise the funding for this? We included Nigerians that are blessed. And there was that discussion. We are going around the world doing, and then that's where we left. But it's designed, the concept is built and everything. And that's what we handed over. To say, and even the people that we've spoken to that wanted to build it, everybody. So we handed it over. But after we handed it over, I'm not sure. The current administration came up with, I think, probably another design because the price went up. And maybe another design. So I didn't see the new design, so I really couldn't comment on it.
Well, is it something you will pursue if you...
Well, it's something that is necessary. If not, Lagos will choke. Now, remember, Dangote is building a refinery that will be the biggest in Africa, about 600,000. How do you evacuate that? As a matter of fact, there's a need for a 5th Mainland Bridge now. Because the idea is, if you are going to Ikorodu from Epe, Leaky, and the rest, and why do we need to go through all you know, it's not necessary.
Why don't you just head direct?
Exactly. So that will take you to Ikorodu. Now, the question is, with the refinery and all those infrastructure being built there, that's not their route. Their route is probably, how do I get to Lagos, Ibadan? So there is a need now for a 5th Mainland Bridge. So it must be built. If not, Lagos will choke. And it encourages economic activities by the time you build that. So if I'm the governor, we will build the 4th and the 5th Mainland Bridge. It's just a promise.
All right.
It has to be done.
And in 2014, when you wanted to be governor, once this current governor won that election, you congratulated him,
Oh, yes.
and you promised to work with him to achieve victory in the main election. I think that was 28th of February 2015 at the time. If that happens this time, if he wins the nomination of the party again, will you work with him?
Well, I have only one party. It's all APC. So who else will I work for? The reality is that it's a competition. So if there is anything, it doesn't change the equation for me. I'm a member of the APC, and that's what I will do. I will support my party. That's what I did then. I will support my party, we will win, and then make sure that we deliver the goods for the people of Lagos State. You
think he will forgive you for challenging him ab initio? You know, people are talking, I keep hearing one word on social media, vindictiveness. Are you worried that if that happens, you think he will forgive you for throwing your hat in the ring?
Well, I only seek forgiveness for my sins, and that's from God. No human being has a right to judge me for my sin.
Yes.
You can judge me for a crime, and that means you go to court and the rest.
Yes.
But if I sin, I will seek solace from my Creator. So this cannot be regarded as a sin.
Yes.
Because we have, like I said, we have a constitution. That is our agreement as a people to say, okay, in order for us to live together, this is how we want to live. So if we agree on that, and I'm not doing something that we agreed on, how can that be considered a crime? So I'm not worried about that at all.
This is your chance now to talk to people, members of your party. Since you're having direct primaries, it means that every card-carrying member of the APC in Lagos State will be influential in determining if you get that ticket. This is your chance now to reach out to them, speak to them, tell them why you think you should have the ticket of the APC in 2019.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's like everything else in life. There are prerequisites for everything that you want to do. Like I say, if you are building a house, you get an architect to design it, and then you have a bricklayer or a civil engineer. But that is probably one of the challenges of leadership in Nigeria. If the MD of a bank will know about banking, the leadership of government in Nigeria doesn't necessarily need to know about government. And we all complain that we are not getting it right. It's simple. So, for me, I have the experience in the private sector. I've worked in the biggest companies in the world. Morgan Stanley is one of the biggest companies in the world. Merrill Lynch, I was executive director there. I didn't know anybody. I'm a Nigerian, and I worked there. So I've had experience. I've worked with Ohando before I became Commissioner for Science, and we've delivered. Like I said, there are agencies of government that interfaces with people that allows people to judge that government. Science and tech is one of them. Works and infrastructure is one of them. Transportation. I've been lucky to head 2 of those in Lagos State. And the records are there. Some of the things that we've done to change the face of Lagos, I was lucky to be part of it. During Governor Tinubu's time and during Governor Fashola's time. So you must understand the policies and politics of Lagos in order to be a good governor. I'm not sure there's anybody that wants to be a bad governor. I don't think so.
Yes.
It's just the volume of the work, how it overwhelms, and lack of understanding of the environment. Now, think about it. I just came into this environment today. If I want to cook for everybody, so that is here, I need to know where is the kitchen. I need to know where do you put your rice. So I might be a good cook, but I need to know the ingredients. Where are these ingredients? And that is the knowledge that needs to, that's the knowledge that I have. And like we said, we must build an egalitarian society in Lagos, in Nigeria, because Lagos holds the key to the success of this country. Now, this is the biggest black nation in the world. If we fail, the black people in the world have failed. It's as simple as that. And we are just growing. The population of Nigeria, they said in 2050, will be about 400 million. Now, that is incredible. That's a lot of human beings. How do we take care of that? We must start to plan. So we cannot start to use sentiments about is a Christian, is a Muslim. To me, it's irrelevant. That's between you and your God. And you know, in the process of going round, I can tell you that our religious leaders have a lot of work to do. Because it's amazing things that are happening there. So we need to improve our godliness as a people. Well, we can go to mosques, we can go to churches. It must show in our lives that we actually believe in God. I think that's what we need to focus on, rather than saying this is somebody must be. No, the job, we've had Christian president in this country. We have Muslim president. Why we all still complaining? General Babatunde was a Christian for 8 years. Yes. President Buhari, Muslim. So how does that really affect the quality of their work? I don't see it. Yes. Like I said, what you cannot measure, you cannot manage it. I can't measure anybody's faith. I can measure their exposure. I can measure their qualification. I can measure what they've done, their experiences in life. I can measure their humility. And those are the things that you need to have a good governor or a bad governor. So, but that's what I bring to the table. I believe I have those credentials that can allow this state to grow to that level where every children will have a decent education that allows them to compete anywhere around the world. You know, when I was in Science and Tech, we built a system where our children can talk to children overseas in schools. And it was amazing. At that time, a child from secondary school in Surulere won the competition in the parliament in England, a debate competition in Nigeria. 60 schools around the world went to the final. And it was in that public school. So those are the things that matters. So it's not, why would anybody care about my religion? Why? Even the Bible says you cannot judge. Yeah. So if you cannot judge, how can you measure what I'm doing? That's the truth. Unfortunately, as a nation, we've allowed that to envelope us. But I think it's very sad. I think it's very sad. It's not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. I married a Christian. My wife is a Christian. She's a Catholic. I've been with her for 27 years. So it doesn't bother me that she's a Christian. I saw a beautiful woman and I married her. And we'll be living together. My mother-in-law lives in my house. I take her to church. When we were in the US, which was for 3 years, I take her to church. So, because that's her faith. She's happy doing it. So why should that bother anybody? I think it's unnecessary, but we must take it back. Because people should not be disqualified because of things they cannot control. So, I'm a Yoruba man. Why should anybody say, oh, because I'm a Yoruba man, I cannot be this? I cannot control the fact that I'm a Yoruba man. I didn't control who will be my father. Yes. That's the work of God. So it's like you are questioning God. When you say, this man is an Hausa man, I shouldn't vote for him. You are questioning the work of God. You are not, how can you say you are a good Christian or a good Muslim when you question the work of God? So it's like God doesn't make mistakes. Yes. So God created me as me. Yes. And that's the bottom line. And I think we should get away from that. We should look at what matters in selecting our leader so that this country can be great for all of us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hamzat. I wish you all the best. And when you get the ticket, we will have you back on the program.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.